Thailand's nude art spaces? Quiet but controversial? There's a map of Bangkok everyone knows. The one with the temples gleaming like gold teeth. The floating markets choked with long-tail boats. The rooftop bars, cocktails, skyline, fire below. It's a good map. It's a useful map. But it's not the only map. There's another one. An unseen atlas, sketched in charcoal on the back of a napkin, passed in whispers between those who are looking for something else. Quiet corners, hidden stairwells, rooms where the air is thick with turpentine. Rooms where the unspoken language of the human form is studied. This is the map we're following today. Thailand, a land of smiles, tradition, a gentle, unshakable culture. It is all those things, but also immense complexity. The ancient, the hyper-modern. Underneath the surface, below the noise of the tuk-tuks, below the tourist trail, currents, eddies, secret tributaries of thought and art. So, where do you find these places? You don't. Not on Google Maps, not in a glossy magazine. You hear about them. The information travels like a rumor, a piece of local folklore passed from one artist to another in a smoky cafe, from a gallerist to a trusted client, from an art student to a curious traveler who asked the right questions. It's a network built on trust, a fragile web held together by a shared passion. It's a system designed to filter out the gawkers, the thrill seekers, the ones who wouldn't understand the sanctity of the space. It's a secret you have to earn. The whispers speak of a door above a print shop in Chinatown, a converted attic in a Thonburi shophouse, a back room in a gallery near the university. The descriptions are always vague, impressionistic. Look for the green door with the peeling paint. Listen for the classical music after 10 p.m. It's a scavenger hunt where the prize isn't just a location, but an experience. The deliberate obscurity is a form of protection, a way of keeping these delicate spaces safe from the crushing weight of mass tourism and the judgmental glare of those who might misunderstand. The mystery is the first layer of defense. This underground scene, if you can even call it that, is a curious blend old and new. It draws from a long lineage of classical life drawing, the bedrock of Western art for centuries. But this quiet, respectful world is not an island. It exists within the larger, louder world of modern Thailand, and the friction between the two is a source of constant tension. Not everyone sees these spaces as sanctuaries of art. For many, they are deeply problematic, a violation of cultural norms and public decency. The idea of nudity can be seen as a corrupting influence, an unwelcome importation of Western values that clashes with traditional Thai ideas of modesty and propriety. This tension often plays out in the local community. Perhaps they saw a foreigner entering the building late at night and drew their own conclusions. Perhaps they are genuinely offended by the idea of what is happening behind the closed door. These complaints can lead to visits from local officials or even the police. The conversations are usually polite, but the underlying threat is real. An order to shut down, a fine, a demand to see permits that may or may not exist in this gray area. Tourism adds another layer of complication. While some tourists are respectful participants, others arrive with expectations shaped by notorious nightlife districts. They might stumble in, shattering the quiet focus of the room. They might not understand the no photography rule, an exotic backdrop for their Instagram feed. This clash of intentions reinforces the perception that this kind of art is linked to something sordid. The government itself maintains a deliberately ambiguous stance. There are laws, but their application, inconsistent, subject to interpretation. One officer might see a legitimate art class, while another sees a violation of public morals. This lack of clear definition keeps the entire scene in perpetual vulnerability. A high-profile exhibition might proceed, while a discreet studio is shut down overnight. This unpredictability forces extreme caution and secrecy. In rooms built on trust, a single careless image can break everything. Let me tell you a story. There's an artist, let's call him Nudity. He's not a firebrand. He's not a revolutionary. He's a quiet man in his late 30s. He loves the way light falls on a human shoulder. He poured his life savings into opening a small studio in an old shop house. It wasn't about getting rich. It was about creating a space. It was about a community. For a year, it worked. The sessions were quiet and respectful. The rent got paid. He sent a little money home to his aging mother in the village. It was a small, good thing. Then one night, a tourist came. He seemed nice enough. He spoke a little Thai. He sketched in a corner. But he broke the rule, the big one. He took a furtive photo on his phone. He posted it online. He probably didn't even think about it. Just another digital trophy from his exotic travels. He tagged the location. He used hashtags. He sent it out into the world, stripped of context and respect. The fallout was immediate and brutal. The post was shared. The post was flooded with comments. The story was twisted. Someone sent it to a local news outlet. Moral outrage. Manufactured. Moral outrage. Genuine. The studio's name was mentioned. Natty's phone started ringing. The story doesn't end there. It rarely does. After the initial shock and anger, after weeks of the studio sitting dark and silent, Nate did something difficult. He scheduled a meeting with the local community leader. He went not with anger, but with a portfolio of his students' charcoal drawings. He went to build a bridge, not to fight a war. He was terrified. The meeting was tense at first. The community leader spoke of duty. He saw the online photo and assumed the worst. Nati listened. He didn't argue. He just listened. He talked about light. He talked about anatomy. He talked about learning to truly see. He explained the rules of his studio, the absolute ban on photography. The model was not an object, but a collaborator. He showed drawings, full of human dignity. He wasn't trying to convert, asking for understanding. They reached a compromise, a quiet understanding. The studio could reopen, but with stricter controls, a clearer sign, a short orientation for new visitors. Nate lost casual traffic, but the core remained. The foundation was damaged, but it held. And so the scene continues. In other hidden rooms across the city, it survives. It adapts. These spaces will likely never be part of the mainstream tourist trail, and maybe that's for the best. Their power is in their intimacy, their fragility, their status as a secret, shared among a select few. They are a testament to the quiet persistence of art in the face of misunderstanding, and the human need to create and connect, even when it's complicated. The story of these rooms is, in a way, the story of Bangkok itself. It's a story of negotiation, the sacred, the profane, the traditional, the modern, to coexist on the same crowded streets. It's about the public faces we wear and the private worlds we cultivate. It's a reminder that what you see on the surface is never the whole story, and that the most interesting truths are often found by taking a detour, climbing a flight of stairs, and pushing open an unmarked door. The artists will continue to draw, the models will continue to pose, and the studio owners will continue to worry, balancing their passion against the precarious reality. The tension will remain. It's the engine that drives the scene, and also the threat that could one day extinguish it. It leaves you with a question, one that lingers in the air long after you've descended the stairs and walked back out into the noisy, vibrant chaos of the city. In a world that is increasingly loud, visual, and quick to judge, what is our responsibility when we are invited to look? When we are granted access to a fragile, private world, do we enter with the quiet humility of a student or the loud entitlement of a consumer? The answer, I think, says less about the art and more about us.